fourth lesson, as former politician in foreign affairs, senior advisor in foreign affairs, and expert in international relations, but also as in all the lessons in philosophy and their argument of this issue, also as philosopher, and especially as a philosopher of policy. Issue of this transmission is the future of international relation between the main states, main nation in the world and in the Europe. Actually, political relation has their main focus on the relation between USA and Russia, USA and China, USA, Russia, Germany, French, like in the past century, like in the past years. In the future, the international relation, in the presence of an important evolution of new states as the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, Korea, and other new states as South Africa, and also in South America evolution, and in ASEAN, Alliance Association of Nations of Western Asia countries, there is very fast evolution of the international relation since the beginning of this century, of the whole century. So the international relation have a geography totally different. The politics and geopolitics totally different. World now is not the center in the Europe and not the center in the United States of America as in the past century, and as not the century in Russia, but also not in French or British or German nation. The new page of the world history is a page with an Asian speaking, with an African speaking, with a South American speaking. The national future are all in Africa, Asia, and South America. It's very important an evolution of the states as evolution of a new system of international relations. What the main nation in the future? Obvious, China. China is the first actor in a new international scenario, in a new international player's role as a main nation in the next and in actual century. But China is not enough. The power of Russia beginning and coming in a new way of powership. And the new nation, as you know, as Brazil, as India especially, have a main role in the world policy, as in the 20 countries of the G20 Council, and in the strictly Council of 8 or 9 nations of the great power nation of the world, the G8, G9, G8 power and the powership council. And in the actual Security Council of the United Nations, a Security Council born in the last century and actually in the same situation of the last century, of the health of the last century. So a Security Council with only 5 nations and the nation of the past. French is a power of the past. British power is a power of the past centuries. Russian power is a power of the last century. So only America and China is now actually a real power, and America in a default future and in a difficult future of their in a difficult situation of their evolution. So the main nation of future are really nation as India, as China, as Brazil, as Turkey. In Turkey also have a difficult situation, but not fully democratic situation. Russia is not a democracy. China is not a democracy. India is a new democracy with a difficult democracy. Brazil is not a full democracy. Korea is not totally in peace for the question of the two Koreas nation. China is not actually in peace for the question of many China countries situation area as Macau, Hong Kong, Taipei, Taiwan, and the China Sea Isle and the question of China Sea with a dangerous problem of dangerous conflict in the future between many nations in the area. So, as the peace is difficult in the world and the stability of peace, as is difficult an evolution with without war and without local war as without the world war. This is the main question of actual century, of our century, and in my opinion, of the next centuries for the world. World have not stability of peace, and more have not local stability of peace. So it's very important for a real evolution of the complexity of the world toward global stability, global equilibrium, and the global peace. Is that important the role of the United States? Then important the role of Europe and the common political Europe with a foreign policy and a real foreign policy. This is also an important question. So in a world totally different, a Europe totally different, and a United Nations Assembly and the Council of Security totally different in the future. This is the vision and the way of the future and the next evolution of the world. And this is the problem for the building of a new foreign policy as a foreign policy not of a nation, not of a continent, but a foreign policy global, a foreign policy of the world, a foreign policy as a foreign policy of United Nations. This is my opinion on about this issue.